You. All right, we're going to start off today with some wins and learning. I know some of you guys weren't here last week. I'm going to be helping out with the new group of Tier 1 and foundations for this new group coming up. So I am in training. Lamira is letting me be my figure this out with you guys, and I appreciate you guys and your patience. But we want to start out with wins and learning. Tell us this past week, or for some of you guys, last couple of weeks, how things have been and what you have been, what you've been working on, what's gone well, anything that you have been discovering this last week or learning this last little while.
Yeah, I'm learning that even though I'm comfortable with social media, I'm not very good at it. And so everything took a lot longer than everything should have. And so I'm still working on some of those things. And yeah, but it's making progress. And then there were other things, like as I was setting things up, I didn't have an email, a different email. So then I had to go set up a different email. And then I couldn't figure out, and I still haven't figured out how to put my email back in this new page that I made. So that's not connected. So just things like that. And I will spend too long trying to figure something out that then I just can't figure out. I'm like, where did it go? And it took me a long time to figure out to do a template on Canvas, like longer than it should have, to do for like my cover photo. So that's just it. It's when I'm learning something new, it just takes me time to figure it out. And then once I figure it out, I can do it. But trying to figure it out that first time, it's like, man, I am old or something.
Right? And technology sometimes makes me cry. Like sometimes as much as adult children do, right? Ingrid, I don't know if technology makes you cry like that, but it can be really frustrating when you're trying to figure out the pieces and you just have to keep creating. But I'm wondering, Melissa, so you used the word should have a couple times. So how long do you think it should have taken you? I'm just curious what you think. Should have been.
Well, I feel like I should have figured out some of this stuff. Like I couldn't quite figure out how to figure out my branding colors and some of those. So I guess the should have is I should have figured it out and not just been like, oh man.
So like you should have like just woke up one morning and just had like, and pieces just fly at you and you just like come together.
I feel like, okay, so I love to cook. I do, but every time I do a new recipe, it takes me like twice the amount of time because I'm really watching everything, but I get through it. And I think I just kept thinking about that a lot. Like, it does take me longer, but I eventually figure it out. And I was like, why can't I figure this out?
Because it's new and it's not cooking and you don't have all the pots and pans together. So then you're starting to cook a recipe. And so then you got to go get the pots and pans, and then you didn't have any sour cream. So then you have to go back to the store again and get some sour cream. And then, you get to the end and and then it takes you like forever long to get everything together. It's the same kind of a process. The interesting thing about the word should is that it comes from shame. And so like as a coach, anytime I hear someone say should have, that's like my little like red flag goes up in my head, because it means that you think that you're not as good as where you are supposed to be right now. And you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now. You're putting together the pieces in the right way for you. Technology is frustrating and it takes time, but I bet you that when you get it put together, your learning curve is so good and that you're going to be able to do it again the second time so much faster because you'll have all the pieces together.
Yeah, I guess the should and all that comes from I had an assignment to do and I didn't complete it.
So welcome to DTLC. I have an assignment in speaking that I haven't completed yet, and my media track I haven't even looked at for a week and a half. This is what it is. We're going to give you a bunch of stuff. You're not going to get it all completed all the time. And the way that at least, and I'll invite Lamira to say whatever she needs to say with this, but I would rather have you come with very little bit done, but no guilt. Like your journey on this is going to look different than anybody else's. And some people are going to put theirs together fast. And some people, it's going to take them 3 or 4 months. And that doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you, Melissa. It means that you put what effort you could, you gave your widow's mite this week, and it was enough. And it's okay if you don't do all the pieces. It's fine. It's okay if it takes you another 2 or 3 months. I love you. We can just work together for forever. This will be fine. And I'll help you get through it. Like we'll make it through it, but try and take the guilt out, because then with the shame, with that should have and the shame, it's going to kill your motivation. And we just don't want to let the adversary have a chance to get in there and make you feel like you're so discouraged that you can't do it. Have any of you guys felt that same thing? Like, I would love to have you guys pop in and like share some times that you have just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this the way it's taking too long, and I'm all the shoulds. Yeah.
Can I share something with that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go. I was going to say, Shauna and I talk about it all the time. We're like, okay, we're just going to keep doing the pieces, and then someday we're going to have a deliverable. But we know it's going to happen, but we're just going to keep doing the pieces. So yeah, she's not alone.
I love that. And we give you stuff because some people will go like jump in. They already have an idea. They already know what you want. I will tell you, especially when it comes to branding, that where I started with branding on me personally has shifted. Like, and the idea is we just get you started, right? And I'm with Diane on this. Is you come, and that's why when we say you do your weekly goal and you rate yourself from 1 to 10, we're not looking for, remember, go back to perfectionists. We're looking for progressionists. and going back to that of, okay, I put in what I could here. And yeah, it's going to take some dedication. But when you're like, I sat down and it wasn't coming. Well, sometimes if you've never thought about it before in a concentrated effort, sometimes it's that first initial looking at it and then having the ideas start to come. I know for me, when I first did the branding thing the very first time, I went, okay, now I look for those things. Does that make sense? But in the beginning, I didn't know. So I started somewhere and I put something down. And when we introduce our new branding person to you this week, we're really excited about her, because what she's going to do is you're going to take those pieces that you've been kind of gathering, like, oh, here's what I like, here's what I'm looking to do. And then she's going to take you and go, okay, maybe this will work, that type of thing. So same thing with when you bring your widow's mites to us and you say, okay, well, this is what I got done on social media this week. We're going to be like, yay, because some people, I know every one of us who've started out on social media, now it looks easy from your end when you look at what we've done, but that's not what it looks like, like in the beginning. And so,
well, and really so I have been doing this for 7 years, and I have moved so much faster since I joined the DTLC, but this is such a long journey. If you look at my stuff early on, and if you knew how long it had taken me to figure things out, you'll get there. Every month you get just a little bit better. You pick up another tool and you get there. But this is a marathon. So take your time, take a deep breath, and give yourself some grace. All of you guys are going to get stuck somewhere. Like, it's just different pieces, and you guys are going to get, maybe it's not in tier 1 or foundations. You might get stuck in author, media, podcasting, and one of those, and it's okay. It really is. It's part of the journey of just learning to love yourself through it, taking what you're good at and just knowing that you're still gonna get it. You just haven't got it yet, but it's gonna come. It's totally gonna come. And there's no timeline. We're not gonna keep Yeah, Kim.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna add to an example this week. Hopefully this is okay, Lamira. But so Lamira asked me to put my about page out there, and I did, because I really want the feedback. And she gave me awesome feedback, like add more white space and maybe consider changing the tense. Well, she didn't say you have 10 misspelled words and the grammar in this needs some work, or, she would have found a nice way to say that if that was the case, but it wasn't like major stuff. that I would consider major. So then I had to think, well, what's B plus? Because I could get stuck in the vortex of recreating that whole page to get white space. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to call this, maybe it's a B. I don't, you have to define what a B plus is for you and then let it go. And I'm like, I love that feedback and I'm going to go back and fix it someday. And I'm going to put it on my list, but it's not at the top because I'm just going to call it B plus for right now and move on to the next thing. So there's that too, because I could be fixing that page and that's all I get done for who knows how long.
That is a perfect example. I love that, Kim, because that's, you sent it and I asked you to send it so I could see where you're at, and you had it out there, and it's enough that if I come to your website, I can learn about you, right? Now, yeah, we talked about that, and I love that you were able, I love that you did that, and you said, okay, I love this, I'm going to shelve it because I've got this B plus work done, I'm going to shelve it, but it's not going to stop me, because the idea of that is, right, especially in tier 1, a bio is basically so you can put it on your landing page or in your thing. It's going to be the next step to when you get your speaking or your website, where Kim is a little further ahead because you already had a website, right? And so she's able to do that. So anyway, I love that. So Diane, I love that you said, we're going to do that, quit shooting on ourselves, right? And we're going to say yet, right? We're going to replace that should with a yet. Oh, I haven't done that yet. And I have found, even for me, there were some things that I'm like, I didn't get to that yet. And then guess what? Something came up, and it's because the Lord had something else going on, or it was for somebody else. And that other person came back and said, oh, we're putting this on hold. And I went, oh, okay, that's why. Does that make sense? So going, okay, there might be something there. So anyway, hopefully that helps.
Yes.
I will say, Lamira, your tutorial on setting up a page was fantastic.
Oh, good.
Just when I went to go fill in some stuff that I'd skipped, then I couldn't, then I was having problems getting back there. And I'm having like the whole issues of doing it under like my personal one and switching over to my page and then switching over. So we'll talk about that too. And maybe as we go through the rest of Wins and Learning, because that is another question we get a lot. So
totally. And maybe it's even like we need to do like a working meeting or something, Lamira, where people just bring, like they work, like we're all just working on stuff. And then if you're having questions while you're doing that, I don't know if you guys ever do that, Lamira, but
I've done it before. I've done it before.
Yeah. Sometimes that can help so that people can be whatever you're working on, then like when it comes up in that moment, you can get help right there in that moment. Because that's what throws me, Melissa, and makes me frustrated, is when I'm like, well, wait a minute, the button's not where it's supposed to be. And, and then I have to step away. And so, yeah, so let's maybe talk about that. This week is not the best week for a working meeting for Lamira and I, probably because we have the retreat. But if we can set that up next week, maybe even after, I don't know, Lamira, we'll talk about a time, and even if I'm the one on there, we'll figure it out. And then this helps Lamira and I know, what do we need to make little modules for? What can we do that will give you guys that little heads up that say, okay, some of you guys are struggling with this, let's make a module and stick that up in there.
Or we might have one, and we'll lead you to where that little training
is. So let us.
I did have some small progress, and I will say this because I'm one of those that's like, you didn't do it in order, and I would find myself getting stuck, and so I would say, okay, can't do this, and if I could go ahead, I'd go ahead until I get stuck on one thing, and then that was like an hour later, I'm like still stuck on the one thing, and so that's when I was like, okay, so that's progress for me, is to be like, okay, I'm going to set this aside for a minute and go on.
I love that.
To see. So, I mean, it wasn't complete, but there were bits and pieces that were some progress.
Good. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Okay, who else has some wins in learning that they would like to share?
I have a win. Yay. Because I just finally figured out my one big message, but I've been working on my presentation for Women's Conference and my moderating panel discussion for Women's Conference. I had to submit both of my outlines to BYU Correlation this week. And I'm working on a podcast proposal right now. And I have loved that I can just pull that in. Like it is everything that I'm doing. It fits, it gives me clarity, it has given structure, and it makes me feel like I'm the same across the board, right? I'm pulling in maybe little different pieces of me, but the message is the same. And it has just been incredible. And I am
goosebumps. That, Chelsea, you worked stinking hard on that one big, and and isn't it amazing when you get it and you're like, oh my gosh, it's coming together. But this was not like a sit down and write down at a retreat, 15-minute thing or like a 1-week thing. Would you share your one big message? I haven't heard your most current one, I don't think.
Yep, I will. Let me grab it. I should have it memorized. I'm going to memorize it. That's one of my goals. I meet saints where they are, or Christ seekers where they are, and help them move from pain to peace by helping them reframe narrow and traditional interpretations of scriptures and doctrines, embrace their unique way of living and loving the gospel, and choose to live an empowered life through Jesus Christ. Here, I'm putting it in the chat.
Awesome. Woohoo. Way to go. Way to go. You're doing great, Chelsea. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Who else has wins and learning?
I have a win. I finished my opt-in, but then I had it was good. I shouldn't say finished because this one really is a rough draft, so it could have grammar errors. So I got it out there for review. But then my total, and I'm so even ashamed to admit this, my insecurity just kicked in, oh, I don't resonate with anybody. They're going to review this and not even know how to give me feedback. And so there's just going to be silence and all weekend long. Kim. I just have to work on that. But I have a lot of, and it's dumb because I know I work with women every day and I help women. So it's but I think it's hard because it's LDS women, and I do worry about some of the things that I have to share as resonating with the general population of LDS.
So thank you for sharing that, Kim. So tell me what working on it means.
So, well, whenever I say that, that means I'm probably working with somebody to do my own tapping on whatever's the root cause of that self-doubt or insecurity. So my version, I guess, of therapy, journaling. I told Shauna today, I do what's called morning notes. So when I'm in a really bad spot, I write for 20 minutes and it's not, you can't read it. It's just a brain dump, and then I burn it. And then I usually feel fantastic after that. Good. So stuff like that, just working on it, doing my own.
And we know we're in trouble when the fire engine comes out. That's when we
that
was too big of a list.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Awesome.
And the whole notebook goes up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Kim, I would invite you to think you don't have to resonate with all the women. You're not looking to resonate with all the women. So who are you looking to resonate with? You don't have to resonate with general population Latter-day Saint women or anything.
I know. Well, it is scary for me because I've niched down to LDS women in the next phase of life that are going through a divorce. So that's pretty narrow, but or who have gone through a divorce, who are divorced, I should say. So that's a narrow, I feel like my niche is good, but there's still going to be plenty of LDS women who just don't resonate with my style or my, just who I am. And that's fine. Yeah. But it's just my insecurity coming up.
Yeah. And it will. And when you niche, I feel like when I niche down that I had to, there's that insecurity that just sits there for a little bit. And I think that's really, really normal. And it'll just become comfortable to you the more you let that sit. But yeah, it is still a lot of women. And some people aren't going to when I meet with a potential client, I'll say, I've got purple hair that stands up and I'm loud and obnoxious. And some people aren't going to love that. Some people will. If you don't love that, then I'm not the coach for you. But if this is something that you resonate with and that will work for you, I would love to work with you. And so that's just part of it. And it's okay. If they don't resonate with me, they'll resonate with someone else. There's plenty of people out there who can do that. So super. All right. Any other wins in learning? Yes, Ingrid.
It's not really a win, but of course there's tons of learning going on here. I think that my obsession with like James Clear's Atomic Habits over the last couple of years has really turned out to be a blessing in this current family climate that we have going on, because I know that I've given up on that all or nothing mindset that I used to hold myself to a super high standard, like, well, I'm going to have scripture study for 15 minutes today. And if it wasn't done by 6:30 in the morning, I'd be like, well, I guess I didn't do it today, so I'll try tomorrow. Not giving myself any other time in the next 20 hours to do even 5 minutes of scripture study and have a win, right? So, so the idea of the smallest steps done consistently will still leads to progress. And that's way better than, a 2-hour burst and then a year of nothing. So all the little things that I put in place recently, like the other day, just absolutely emotionally depleted. I had no sleep and all these things, just heavy, all the stuff. And I drove to the gym after I dropped off my kiddo at school, because that's what I do every day. And I was like, I do not feel like being here. There's no part of me that wants to be here. But I went in, I ran 2 laps around the short little track, really, really fast and angry laps. Like I never run like that. I run slow, but that felt good. And then I did like 20 push-ups and then I went home. And that was not a fail. That was a win. So, I was there for probably less than 10 minutes, but moving your body is always going to help you feel a little better and empower you to deal with whatever else your day wants to throw at you. So I'm just thankful that I've learned that just the smallest steps in the right direction are still steps in the right direction, and they keep you from sliding backwards. And I just used to have that all or nothing mindset. And now I'm much more of that B pluser, or sometimes a C minuser, like this week and last week. And that's okay.
I love that. Well, and James Clear, how does he say that he started his exercise? Do you remember what it was?
Oh, was it like 1 push-up or something?
1 push-up. So
yeah.
It's that 1 minute. It's the driving to the gym. I don't know if you remember that example where he's like, drive to the gym every day, but if you don't get out of your car, you're still creating a habit. You're still making a move in that right direction. I know. I love James Clear.
I love that. I remember the moment I realized that I had created that habit in my mind, and my husband would ask me, he was like, what's your workout plan? I'm like, my workout plan is show up every day and do something. And once that's cemented, then I will figure out, maybe a certain regimen or certain amount of reps and weights and all that, you know what I mean? But for right now, my plan is to show up. And I knew I had achieved it when one morning after dropping my kiddo off, I had to go to the grocery store, and I automatically drove to the gym instead, like mindlessly. And then I arrived at the gym and went, oh, I actually didn't mean to come here, but it had become habitual. And that was my the proof, that it had become habitual. So anyway, we're just riding on those little tiny baby steps, right now, kind of survival mode. And
good. And that's it. That's just give yourself permission. The 1 push-up. It's the 1 push-up life right now. Because that's all, that's all you can do. It's all you can do.
It's ahead of me, because I say I'm going to start working out next Monday.
Yes.
Every week. And then my husband's like, it's Monday. I'm like, but I said next Monday.
So
1 push-up, Shauna. Just do 1 push-up a day.
1 push-up. So Shauna, have you had any wins in learning that you'd like to share with us?
I've had lots of learning, not very many things that felt like win lately. So I don't want to get everybody down. So we'll just pass me this week and go for.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start out with any questions on the social media side of it that we talked about last week. We talked about making the templates. using maybe even a little AI to help you get your brain thinking about what to put into your templates. Any questions about any of that from last week, or whatever it is that you're working on? I know, Kim, you've been working on your opt-in, anything that you want to, would you like us to look at, pull up a social media post that you've done?
So I just have a question on doing like the little things that will be out for like what you put out there, your little quotes or whatever. Do I want to just look for like inspirational quotes or quotes from like conference quotes, or like what should I be looking for my material? So I haven't gotten to those yet, and I was about to work on those soon, but I wasn't sure what I should do for my material. But I do have, after talking with you, Diane, we came up like with the three outcomes, very specific. So trust in God, building confidence, and finding purpose, and to really focus the three, or kind of rotate those three. So I guess that's my thing, is what is it? Just like, can it be thoughts by Melissa? Is it thoughts by more credible sources? Is it what do I do there?
So if you, and Lamyra, the spreadsheet is in Member Vault, right? So there's a spreadsheet. Let me share my screen so I can just show you how I would do it, if that's all right, really quick. I'm gonna pull this up. So let me pull up my spreadsheet. I'm looking around my camera real quick, so I can show you how I have done it and how I organize it out. So for my template, this is the one that is our general one. Let me pull it back over to this one. That's mine. Okay. So I have, oh, this isn't mine either. Okay, but this is what I do. The motivational quotes I pull from my audience is members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So I will look up, let's say if I'm looking up confidence quotes, LDS, and this is how I get, like, if I just need, at least if I need to think about something, sometimes you'll listen to a talk and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's what I need. And I will go through these and find ones that relate with my audience, and I will type that into where I want my quotes here. So that's what I use for my motivational quotes. I am looking for reliable sources, Brene Brown, general authorities, especially Quorum of the 12 or President Nelson, if you can find that, and any books that you've read, anything like that. The educational is more what I have used for, like, me, what I use, things that I say. So this next batch that I have, there's like confidence before correction, like little things that I usually will say, and I'm going to use those for my educational quotes. So those are just thoughts that I have. And then the fun about me is just totally different. Does that help a little bit?
And I will say, as you start getting more content too with your personal quotes. So sometimes I'll do one that I might have a thought that came to me that's like a one little quote, and I'll put it on there. And I usually don't put a little quote with it. I just put it on there, and then I'm going to have my little watermark or logo, or if I don't have a logo yet, I just put at, my Instagram page or Facebook page, if that makes sense. So that way it's credited to me, but at the same time, I'm not like quoting myself, if that makes sense. So, but it's good to have a mix. So you have something that are your own thoughts in there. So like, for instance, one that we do all the time, right, with Connie is be a B+, right? Be a B+ gal, do something like that. And we'll put that on there. And then it just has her little picture and at Connie_Sokol, right? And then, but if it's something else that we've done, we'll have a quote, and then we're quoting somebody else, like Tracy Browning or something, if that makes sense.
So Melissa, and I don't know if this is, do you feel like, so I felt like it was hard for me, like I just didn't have enough things that I said myself very often to start with. So then I would get stuck with that. Do you feel like that, or do you have enough things that you feel like you say that you could create, let's just even say like 3-4 posts on it?
On my own stuff? I don't
Mhm.
know yet. I know I always say stuff, but we'll see
If you're
what.
if you're not sure what they are, the educational can include quotes that you find, other places too, or just tips. If you use that magic, right, that we pulled up before, and you say tips like, tips for building confidence, just to at least get your brain going, then you'll be able to grab the tips that resonate with you the most, word them in a way that's a Melissa way, and stick those in there as well. So don't be afraid to use AI for that as well, to get some tips. And then you'll find that the more you do this, the more tips that you'll be like, okay, this is a Melissa tip. I love this tip. Like, I could talk about this tip for a whole month. And so this is going to be a signature tip that I'm going to just hold on to. But just for right now, just put them out there. Just get some going. Don't worry about whether or not this is like the Melissa tip. It doesn't have to be that right now.
Okay, and
I
over
have
the
a
past,
question.
I was just
Oh,
going to
go
say real
ahead,
quick, over
Melissa.
the past few years, like when I was going through all these hard things on Instagram, it's really nice because I saved like quote after quote after quote after quote that I was like, oh, this is what I need when I'm having those hard days. So I've already got quite a few saved that I could go through, like one of Elder Holland's favorite ones, like the do not despair, don't give up. Oh, this was President Hinckley. Look for the sunlight through the clouds, just
Great.
so I have just a ton of, I have a ton that I could use that, and quote somebody to.
Good.
And the reason we do in the order we do is have you put in that template first, so you don't worry about making in Canva right away. That way you just bank them all. Just like you've banked them all on Instagram and saved them all, go through and just start like copying and pasting, putting them in there, because you will reuse them. And I will tell you, if you do not copy and paste it and put it in there, you will forget it. You'll be like,
Okay, so I want to
used
do this.
that."
I want to do the spreadsheet before I'm working on templates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because once you get a template, you can just insert those things in. So the idea, because that's where it's, for some of us, that's a fun place to play and get creative, but all of our time can get sucked there. But I found for me, even when I'm doing Connie's social media, literally like what I did is when we do general conference reels, I just started going through and like, I just batched, we call batching it, right? Where you just do it all at once. And I just started working, I'm going to just work on my confidence quotes right now. So just find 5 confidence quotes. Right. So that's why when we did that training, we said, do this part first, and then this part, and then this part, because then you can go through and you're just in that, okay, I'm in a finding mode. Now I'm going to write social media post mode, if that makes sense. Cause then you're thinking that same track. Hopefully.
If you're not trying to go back and forth between creating, thinking, putting it, like, you're just going to save so much time. It just helps. Like if you just go through and say, okay, these are my confidence quotes that I've saved from Instagram. I'm just going to put them in, and this is what I'm going to get done today. Like, that's a really good thing, because then tomorrow you can find the template, put them in, create the post. The next day you can post it, like just bite-sized pieces.
And you can make a whole new tab on there. If you're like, okay, these are motivational, but if you're like, oh my gosh, I just have a whole bunch of confidence ones, then make a tab that just says confidence quotes. Does that make sense? So that way you can put it there, but then you can go in and recreate posts some other time too. So that's just a thought.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question too on that. And I don't know if it's okay to share my screen, but when I was struggling with this a couple of years ago, and now I'm not posting so much, so it's not as big a deal but I used Lindsay Padilla. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but I used her spreadsheet, and she has a formula where she likes like one post to be an authority post, one post to be a connecting post, one post to be an engaging, one to be a sizzle kind of post. And then she has a calendar. It's all preloaded for you. So like when I go out there and look at my January, I should look at a month that's current, but she has all this stuff in there, like tell about the time you did this or talk about this thing. So it's kind of just a prompt basically.
And those are awesome. Like I have some of those too. And I would say that if you are up for that, do that. Like if you're ready to go like that. I sometimes do that to get ideas. That's where I got a few of the ideas.
Yeah,
in that.
that's what it is.
But for in tier 1, if you're not there yet, just start with those 3. That's why we were like 3 categories with 4 posts each, you will get 3 months worth, do you know what I mean? We're like, you're going to get that. But Kim, I love those. And so if you have those, feel free to share them. I have one, but I was like, I'm not going to overwhelm you because it's very business related. And we just want you to get started first. But Kim, if you love that one where she has great prompt ideas, feel free to share that link in the Foundation 5 Tier 1. We would love, because I know Diana and we're always looking for stuff, right, too, because then we can add those in there as well as that template. Here's a whole bunch of ideas. We just wanted to get you a few to get started. So I love that. Thank you.
And I would just say consistency is going to beat anything else. If you are posting once a week across your platforms, that is going to be better. That it kind of goes back to Ingrid's 1% from James Clear. Let's just get, like, once you get that habit down, if that's the best you can do, let's just start there, and then we'll add the second post of the week and then the third. But to try, sometimes if we try and bite it all off, I mean, there's been times I've spent hours, like days, and I get like, 4 weeks and it's great, and then there's nothing for like 3 months because, I tried to do too much and it just was overwhelming. So just make it simple. Make it simple. Any other questions? All right. Well, with a few minutes left, Lamira, should we hop in and what do you think we have? So we can talk about opt-ins. Kim, I know that you've been working on your opt-in. Melissa, you're still probably another week or so too away from the opt-ins, and that's fine. There's no rush. Yeah. Ingrid, you're taking a little, you're doing your family time stuff. So what is going to help? Yeah.
I do have a question. I'm trying to figure out what my opt-in would be. If my one big thing is like this, like a workbook template to walk you through putting on Night in Bethlehem on a larger scale. I don't know what my opt-in is. Is it like a family night? Maybe a family night nativity with maybe a recipe, some simple costumes, and a little mini script or something. I mean, people are already doing this. They read Luke 2, they put dad on all fours and he's the donkey, and they find a baby doll, and people are already doing this. I brainstorm.
Some of us do, but have not done it well. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what to do. The other thing I would say too is I love this idea. Sorry, Diane, sorry, I jumped in.
No, go ahead, Lamira, go ahead.
And this is what one of the readings is going to be in StoryBrand, is he talks about lead magnets a little bit, and our special guest on Wednesday, Tasha, that's what she's going to be teaching about, is how to do an effective lead magnet, which is an opt-in, right? This is what she teaches, aside from doing story branded websites, that kind of, this is her jam. And so she talks about, but in here, and she follows the story brand method. That's why, sorry, I'm finding the right page. I keep going back and forth.
It's really, Ingrid, like maybe if you feel like one area has been done, first of all, it doesn't have the Ingrid spin on it, and it's not going to have the same audience as you have, but maybe think of it in a quiz, or think of it like, you're going to have to just think of it in a different way. And that's what she's going to do, is share with us. Did you find, Lamira, what you were looking for?
No, you're good. I love it. So on page 185, he has like 5 types of leads that work, that for all types of businesses. So like you were talking about a downloadable guide, like it could be a get started thing. It could be, start with a small nativity. Does that make sense? But he's talking about being very specific with that. With it might be, what's that on the lower scale? He has an online course or webinar, which some of you are working on. If you were going to do a course, you might do a bit and piece of that. Software demos or free trial. Free samples. Now, an example of a free sample is one thing that Kim is working on, is doing a free tapping session, like a short tapping, just a sample of what she does. Because, right, that's the whole idea, is you go to Costco and you're like, here's my sample. and I love what you do, or maybe it's not for me, but I know this person loves this, so I'm going to pass it on to them. Does that make sense? So sign it, and then
I
this
wonder, like, for Ingrid, like, I wonder if there's like the top 5 things that you need in order to get started. Like, even like my favorite finds that the essentials of
the nativity,
before you do anything else, something like that, where I'm like, oh, I'm interested in this. What do I have to do to even get started? Like, maybe the whole, like, I don't know. Keep going, Lamira.
Or is there like a checklist, like, because you can pull in your organizational skills and ability, like, is there before you do any kind of event, here's you don't have to make it that, you know what I mean? Because then you're not speaking directly to the nativity, but sort of, I don't know if there's something there, like.
and you could also
Or myths, like the top 10 myths.
One of the things I'm curious about, Ingrid, what gets you to opt in? What draws you into, like, what draws you into, like, I'm willing to give my email to this place?
The opportunity to save money. Like, I do it if I'm online shopping and they're like, oh, sign up for our emails to get 20% off your first order. I will sign up for that, do my order. Sometimes I'll just unsign up after, on a big company or whatever. If it's something I'm like, that's what I need and that's what I need right now, and it looks like it's the kind of thing that I can act on quickly and solve a problem in my life quickly, I'm not, the nice thing about opt-ins is they're like a chewable chunk, right? So I'm not committing to some 7-week thing, but it's something like short, punchy, I can use it now. Maybe that's a tip. Is it something, maybe it's some other kind of family night or some other kind of Bible related activity that's not a nativity, so that it can be used all year long. So I can gain subscribers to my newsletter throughout the year and not just seasonally, because I recognize that my offering, my one big thing, is very much a seasonal.
Well, but what if it isn't? What if it's a connecting with the Savior through the nativity? How to make Christmas all day long, I mean, all year long. We talk about that all the time at Christmas. So how to bring that Christmas spirit all the time, ways to implement that feeling of Christmas year round, not just
like that. It could be like 20 family activities to keep the spirit of Christmas alive all year long.
Five.
Yeah.
Five.
Like,
this is my constant thing with Connie, is like, I'll like show her things. She's like, Diane, Costco sample, one side of a piece of paper, and you've got to have your branding on the bottom. So like, yeah. So we're like so small. Yeah. 5 ways to make Christmas all year, 5 things. Anyways, really.
And I would say 5 like activities. Another thing you can do, and this might be something you do, we are coming up on yard sales season. I mean, now you can find things on Marketplace, but another way is a way to thrift your nativity, right? And especially if you start doing stories, Ingrid, if you on social media and you're like, hey guys, like, I'm here, this is what I would be looking for at a yard sale, right? This is what I would be,
so good.
Right? So that kind of thing those are the kind of posts, but the downloadable, something you could do all the time in it might be your starter kit. You're like Diane said, this is your nativity starter kit, because I'll tell you, you're becoming credible in that, and you're thinking 1 year round, but as you're infusing that Christmas throughout the year, things to look for, people are going to, oh yeah, I'm at a yard sale. I could totally use that, because everybody wants a manger at Christmas, but they can't find it at Christmas. But when are they going to find it? After Christmas, when people are going through their stuff.
And yard sales during the summer. Like, you could do a Christmas in July, like the 6 months out. We got the Amazon does that, where there's that big sales push 6 months out. Make that a big thing. This is like Christmas in the summer. We are preparing for Jesus's half birthday. Yeah. This is exciting, and this is how we're going to help you. Yeah. Does some of that make you excited? Some of that looked like you were.
Yes. Thrift your nativity just blew my mind. I feel like that is the
because I think what you're doing is so big, so you're helping them, just like Connie uses life hacking it. You're life hacking How do you, you're taking your 25 years of a nativity and how can we do it quicker and faster, but not necessarily as big? Does that make sense?
I have one question. What's this is, I guess, kind of related to social media and stuff, because I have hardly posted on my Night in Bethlehem so far. And most of my followers on Night in Bethlehem right now are either DTLC friends who I've been like, can you follow my page? And then people who have been involved with it in the past. They aren't going to be my customers. They're my like local neighbors, right? They're not going to want to put on their own Night in Bethlehem 2 blocks from my house.
Mm-hmm.
They're already in with me.
You're inviting them to share with everybody.
Yes. And what's an authentic way to ask them to share the page? I thought about doing a giveaway of something like one Night in Bethlehem giveaway course. Maybe I combine with another person who also has something to offer. Maybe it's one of you or something where I say, hey, I'm giving away this free Night in Bethlehem course that's worth $250 or whatever. And my friend is giving away this box of Christmas tree decorations, whatever. I don't know.
We're kind of
something
jumping.
that one of you does that's somehow related. And then we can, tag 3 friends and share and blah, blah, blah for entries, and somebody will win it, right? A giveaway, and that will boost followers. But I'm also wondering what's some other authentic way to
honestly, some of those are your reels. Reels are for reach. Okay. And if you start doing reels, so one way we've done it is like, if you're doing things about the Savior, you're finding, right? Those are the people. So a reel for reach is basically what I would tagline it as. And you're going to find things that either, whether it's a conference talk or something about Jesus, something about Christ all year round, that's where we're reaching, right? Then when they come into you and they see the kind of posts that you have, but where you have right now, you mainly have pictures of your Night in Bethlehem of what it is, which is great. But what you're also going to do is start adding in, you're the everyday mom doing this. It's the everyday mom who's doing this, and that everyday moms can do this. You don't have some big organization, some big, stage production that comes and do this. This is a community. And that's my suggestion would be to kind of branding, meaning how you show up on social media is you're that everyday mom. You're going to show, this is what I do, like what you've done in your stories with your other stuff before, like organization. Take that to your Night at Bethlehem. Does that make sense? Like, hey, this is who you are. This is what you do, because that's who you're branding to, right?
Well, and what I picture, Ingrid, is that you're going to spread word of mouth, though. So someone in your community already is going to be like, this lady puts this amazing thing on, and she's like, you guys have got to follow her because we could totally do this somewhere else, or and that's kind of how it's gonna. I think that's how a lot of it's gonna spread, so that it stays true to your brand. What I found is sometimes when you collaborate with other brands, you don't necessarily get your ideal people with you, because like they're just doing it for the freebie, but they're not really your ideal audience.
That's a good point. I'm like courting the wrong customers. The non-customers, right? That's a good point. I think I really need to up my game and get a little bit of momentum, even if it's just with posting stuff and doing reels or stories or whatever on both my personal and Night in Bethlehem, and kind of cross them a little bit. Like today I made a story about making my planner on Instagram. I was like, oh, last week was kind of a wash. I had a family crisis. And so I didn't do any of my bullet checklist things in my bullet journal that I usually do. So I'm wondering, should I even bother making a planner page this week, or should I just skip it? And I kind of just put that out on Instagram, like, tell me what you think. So some people are responding, it's not a big deal, but I could include like taking all our Night in Bethlehem stuff to the storage unit, which will probably happen this week because the weather's finally good. And I could show that on my checklist, and it's something that kind of piques a little interest, like, oh, there's a Night in Bethlehem thing. And then I will make a Night in Bethlehem story about us taking all our stuff to the storage unit. You know what I mean? Just so that there's some activity there.
Right. And even showing what you do, like this is, I'm going to take, like doing some film footage to use for later. So anyway.
Great. Are there any other, we have time for one more question, Ingrid, and you want to hop on a coaching call, we can like flesh that out with you, either Lamira or myself, see if we can get some more of that kind of planned out, what that might look like. But Yeah, any other?
Shauna, is there anything where are you at? Because I know you have been working so hard and hitting your head against the wall of some of this stuff. Is there anything we can help you with?
I think it's just, my problem is just, where you say that B- work or whatever. I'm just always an A+er, and I feel like I'm not anything, and I can't put it out till it's perfect. And I've got like piles and piles of stuff that I've done, things I've written, and I'm like, just don't know where to even start. And then I'll watch social media and I'll be like, oh, there's a million of me's. So I don't really need to do it. I'm not as good as that one. So I just don't know where to really start.
I just make one quick comment before you give your advice, because I have kind of felt that way whenever I come across something that's like, I coach divorced women or something, or I work with divorced. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's, there's so many. But then I remember there's so many divorced women out there. And I love when we said the people that will resonate with you. So you'll find the people that resonate with you, and one person couldn't handle all the divorced LDS women. So that was just my thought whenever that comes in. I'm like, but I'm good. I'm going to be good.
The Lord needs one of Shauna. Shauna,
Yes.
what
Okay.
if we just practice, and I can hop on a coaching call with you.
Okay.
What if we just practice? We're going to put out something totally imperfect, knowing it's imperfect, like it's going to be messy, and we're just going to put it out there, and it's going to make you cringe, and you're going to feel super uncomfortable, and we're going to do it on purpose, making it messy. And we're just going to start practicing doing messy, because this process, if we can't get you out of that A+, you're going to stay stuck. We got to get you out of that. This is coming from an A+er. So I hear you and I feel you, but if you've better done messy and imperfect than not done at all. So so you have to put it out there, and you have to cringe and just be like, oh, this is like so embarrassing, and let it be there. And then put out another one. And
if I could put it out to like Australia or Europe.
No, Shauna, we're gonna put it out to everyone.
Then they won't know that was me.
So here's the awesome thing. I just saw a funny reel today, and it's by Brock Johnson. I follow him. He's a social media guru. His mom is Shailene Johnson. And he basically did a reel that showed where he started as like I would call it a baby, right? In teenagerhood, like as a teenager, and he's not that old anyway, right? And he showed a little clips of him doing it, and he's like, and it was just funny. Like he did that. And then another gal said that I watched her, she's a social media guru too. And she goes, if you don't look at a year ago's post and cringe, you're doing something wrong. Like you need to feel cringy, like that you've improved, that you see that you've adapted, that you've grown. And I remember the first Facebook Live I ever did, and I went, yay, here I go. And I just did a reel this last week, and I'm like, I did it messy, I did it scared, and it was messy. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, that was cringy. But you know what? I did it because I'm like, like you guys, I'm out there like, hey, we just got to get it out there. And the more you do it, you'll do it. Like as Melissa talked about, first of all, I love that she said, you got to just get out there and do it. There's enough people out there. And then the other one is as you start doing it, you will get it in the doing. Like that is something you will hear us say over and over. You'll get it and you'll be like, oh, okay, I said that and I fumbled over all my words, but next time I know what to say and I'm going to say it more often. Does that make sense? So it's like, take that Mel Robbins. How many of you are familiar with Mel Robbins? Hey, have you heard her 5 seconds? Her 5 seconds. So do anything in 5 seconds. You count backwards like a rocket ship. You don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because we'll keep counting up. Start with 5 and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and like blast off and you do it. You jump, right? And it's just 5 seconds of that courage and you do it. And that's where you're like, hey, post, here I go. Start. So that's just a thought there. If that's something that's helped me, and I don't know if it will help you too. But.
Thank you so much, Shauna. We'll get you. We're gonna do it. I know you're gonna be like, I'm not scheduling a coaching call with her. It's gonna make me put myself out there. But let's see if we can get something something going, because we got to get you out of the A+. A+ is not good. So, I mean, it looks beautiful on the outside, just not good on the inside. And we love you, Shauna. We love your B-. You don't have to show up A+ for us all the time. You guys, thank you for coming today. We appreciate you spending your time with us, and we will put the assignment into the WhatsApp group. We are again, just make sure you come up on Wednesday so you can get some more ideas for opt-ins and kind of get your brain going. We will create a time to have a working meeting sometime next week so that we can maybe get some of those social media questions answered while we're there. And if there's anything else we can do, please reach out to Lamira or myself. We are happy to help you keep just one little step at a time, one little inch forward. And we are so grateful for, we're just grateful for you showing up. Lamira, do you want to give them, go ahead and give them their assignments.
Okay. Each one of you on here, and those who aren't on here too, but each one of you on here, I'm going to give you an assignment to at least do one social media post this week and either tag us or post the link of it in WhatsApp and say, I did it. Come find me. Come comment on it. I want you to do that. Okay. Do something brave, at least one post. And if it's on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you're going to do it, that's great. Just let us know. Okay. We're going to do one that's accountable by, and let's say, I'm going to say by Wednesday or Thursday morning, we're going to do that deadline. Okay. So we're going to do one social media post and just let us know that you did it so we can go in. Okay. The second one is that, if you've gone through social media, great. Otherwise, wherever you're at, do that. The other part is if you are on opt-ins, if that's where you are, you're looking the story brand. If you're like already thinking about that, you're going to look at pages 183 to 188. I mean, I have more that I could give you to read, but those are that it's specific to lead generation. Okay. And if you can hop up on DTLC this week with Tasha, because we can give you more modules. There's modules in the opt-in and it's not very long. Diane and I have been like paring this down for you to try to help you be able to get through it quicker. Okay. So come next week with an idea for an opt-in or have one. Like Kim's got one. So we're going to be reviewing hers, but at least just an idea. Okay. Does that sound doable?
If we're missing a little piece that we can just hop on and do a quick little like a video for it and post it, let us know so that, because if you're needing it, somebody else is going to need it too. So throw that into the WhatsApp. We'll get to it when we can, but
yeah, because both Diane and I will we'll divide it up and like one or
we're going to hit them out, make this short and succinct and easy for you guys. So thank you. Anything else? Are we good, Lamira?
I think we're good.
Okay, thanks you guys.
And I'll try to get an email out. I know that's so helpful for some of you. And so I apologize that hasn't been coming out. So we'll do that. Okay. So.
All right. We'll see you guys on Wednesday or next week or whenever. See you guys around. So, all right. Bye.
Bye.